Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mobile Weekly / Mobile Q&A, where we go over all the latest news that happened during the week of tech and mobile and answer your questions live. Question you want to ask, just ask in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. All right, guys, so I hope we can go one show without any issues, but we'll have to wait and see because over the past 2 months now we've been having some issues, but let me know. I think I got everything under control, and I'm actually even using my better camera because I found a way to cool it, so hopefully that'll go well too. Maybe a little ambitious, but I wanted to say, hey, let's go all in if we really want to do this. So let me know if there is any issues in the chat. I will be monitoring it for the first 10 to 15 minutes just to make sure, but if I get thumbs up, then I know that everything is working properly. So hopefully everything is, and yeah, let's see how it goes. All right, let's get started with the news that honestly disappointed me to the utmost extreme. So let's go right into it. This is via Android Authority, and they have what they are saying are the cameras for the new Pixel 9 lineup. And this is so disappointing. So after the Z Fold 6, honestly, I was like, I think the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is going to be the one I recommend to everyone for a foldable this year, because all it had to do was take the cameras from the Pixel 9 Pro, and that would be it. If it would just give us the cameras of $1,000 phone on a $1,600 phone, then that's all we needed. And then it would be the best foldable of the year. Done. It would beat Samsung, bar none. It would be done. That's not what they did. So, all right. Let me see this. The Pixel 9 Pro is using basically the same cameras of last year's Pixel Fold. Why? 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 It had an open shot. All it had to do was use the same cameras as the Pixel 9 and Pixel 9 Pro and Pixel 9 Pro XL. Both those two will have the same cameras, and that would be it. But no, it's just the most annoying thing ever. The most annoying thing ever. So yeah, we are unfortunate that it's not going to be that way. However, I do want to point out how amazingly good the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL cameras are going to be. First off, we have a triple 50 megapixel camera sensor on the back. It's so good that as of right now, which I am very surprised about, it looks like we're getting the main sensor and the telephoto sensor being the same 50 megapixel sensor, which is really good. But so some people are saying the voice is off sync. I do apologize for that. I tried to get it better. It was like good enough when I tried to go by the time I had to go live. But I am still tweaking that out, so it might be a slight off, especially because I was doing it with recording as well instead of live streaming, so that may be why the sync is off. We're talking milliseconds here. That's the difference. But yeah, I'll try to figure it out. I think I tuned it to 100 before I had it at 150, so I need to tweak it slightly. In terms of the front camera, though, the Pixel 9 Pro... It's about a second off. Okay. The Pixel 9 Pro is going to have the absolute best ever selfie camera. The absolute best ever selfie camera. As of right now, if this is true, it's going to have the same front camera as the main rear camera. That has never, ever been done on a smartphone before. Ever. And it is, quite frankly, the biggest news ever to hit Pixel in like 5 years. Like, I mean, Pixel made a big impact, I want to say, on Pixel 3, and then Pixel 4 continued it as being the best camera out there. But this is just absolutely insane to be the same front camera. The whole video I'm going to do on the Z Flip is that it is the best vlogging camera out there because of its front camera being so good and upgraded this year. I was like, well, logically, this is going to be the best photo and video camera there ever has been. Just because you can see yourself. It's the benefits of a selfie camera in terms of vlogging, but the high quality of a main camera. I might not be able to say that if the Pixel truly is. I mean, it would be true, and it will be true for about a month. But once this phone comes out, it could be the best selfie camera ever on a smartphone. And I cannot understate that. The fact that it would have the same front and rear camera is quite impressive. By the way, it's also autofocus. For those of you who don't know, most selfie cameras are still fixed focus. It's rarely always autofocus. And for that to be it, it just means that, you know, selfie cameras are only for a certain distance, right? So if you're too far off, it's not going to look that good. It's going to be a little bit fuzzy, and it'll try to adapt it with all of, I don't want to say AI algorithm, but with all of its photo compositioning that it does. But that is just something. So I cannot understate that that would be so good, right? But I have to, I'm sick of telling manufacturers this, that foldables should not be lesser on cameras. I don't know why they thought that was okay. I get it. When it was first coming out, you had to cut some corners. You have made your R&D back by now. We're on third iterations. Maybe Pixel hasn't. Samsung definitely has. Samsung definitely has made its R&D back. And the reason why Samsung will never sell foldables the way they did the Note is because the Note was the best phone every year. Every year the Note was out, starting with about, I would say the Note 3, I could honestly say from that point on. With the Note 3 and on, it was the best phone every single year. It had the best battery life, it has the best camera, it had the best screen every single year. It was just the best. And that was something that made people fall in love with Android because they knew, hey, we're the absolute best product out there. Why do manufacturers now think we're willing to spend double the money in most cases? Because once you get a bigger storage and everything like that, and not have the best smartphone of the year. It's not enough to be a foldable. You have to be the best. And the minute a manufacturer gets that, the minute a manufacturer between, you know, now the three in the foldable space, OnePlus, Google, and Samsung. The minute one of them understands that if you just give us the best cameras, a bigger battery life, or at least the same battery life as your Pro XL or as your Ultra series, you will have the highest selling foldable in history. That's all they need to do. All they need to do is that, and then it will happen. But we'll see who gets there first, but it's just like, I went from being so excited for the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, it's still a long name, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, it was going to be my phone because I had heard it was going to be the same cameras. If it was going to be the same cameras as the 9 Pro, there's no reason to get the 9 Pro. It just should get the Fold. Now there's no reason to get the Fold, and I'm just going to get the Pro XL. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments section. That is my stance on it. I would love to know yours, but for me, the Pro X, like, even if they had given the selfie camera on the 9 Pro Fold, that would have been great. But this just makes the 9 Pro XL the must-have camera to get if you want the best photo quality out there. It's really exciting, and if this is true, it has some of the best cameras, if not the best cameras ever put on a smartphone. So really excited for this one, guys. All right, we also have confirmation that there is going to be a Galaxy Z Fold 6 Ultra, but you can't have it. It's going to only be in China and Korea. That being said, now that it is that, and they're expected to sell about 400,000 to 500,000 units produced of this version, I kind of believe I know what it is. This is more than likely going to be a special edition or the W series, which China has typically had. So yes, it is going to be an Ultra, but I do not believe it's going to be the Ultra we were hearing about, where it was going to be everything we've asked for, which is bigger battery, better cameras, S Pen built in. I don't think it's going to be that. Is from what it's sounding like, it doesn't look like it will be. We'll have to wait and see, but at least at this point, it looks like it will be a Samsung W25 series, which is more stylish. It'll be like gold. It will be, very standout-ish. I don't want to say gaudy, but little gaudy. But it's just really going to be very glamorous, and it might have some extra features, but they're never too much of a standout. It might even be slimmer. It might even be a little bit curvier, because in China, the curve actually really still stands out over there. But we'll have to wait and see what it comes out. But this is going to come out in October, which is also, by the way, when the tablets are coming out. So it does look like that we are getting the S10 series this year still, which I thought they were going to push it back to the S series when it came out in January. But no, it does look like the Tab S series is going to come out this year still in October, which makes sense before the holidays. The big interesting thing about this is that it might do something that they've never done before. Have MediaTek processors. And there's been conflicting reports, but some are saying it will be in all S10s. So this is really interesting for a couple of reasons. One, it would be interesting to see if they would have it in the S10 Ultra. I could easily see them putting a Dimensity 9300 Plus in the S10, S10 Plus. I don't think many people would notice or care, to be quite honest, because it's, for one, a great processor that goes toe-to-toe with the Snapdragon Gen 3. It actually is even faster, not as good battery life from what I hear, but again, that depends on the benchmark you go with and everything, so not always true. However, the real interesting thing is if they put it with the Ultra, and will the price change? That is the most interesting part to me. Because if Samsung is getting a processor that does indeed probably cost them anywhere between $50 less to $100 less, will they pass on that savings, or is it just going to be where like that savings is going to be for them, but they're going to keep the price? Hopefully it means they won't raise the price, but we'll have to wait and see. I do believe that they will probably keep the same prices, which kind of sucks because I would hope they would lower the price. But yeah, I am just kind of like, man, I wish they would have a lower price if they do this, but we'll have to wait and see. What do you guys think? Do you guys care about the processor really on your tablets? I don't think many people do, as I think it's more used for, typing emails, all that kind of stuff, like basic stuff. And also, I think it is even more used for entertainment. So I think as long as you have a good battery life, that's all that matters, which granted, Dimensity 9300 Plus, to get that higher speed, they went with a higher clock speed of processor than the Snapdragon Gen 3, but it had a lower battery life. So I am curious to see how it'll turn out. But what do you guys really care about the processor in your tablet? Would you gladly take a slightly lower processor for $100 off? Let me know in the comment section. All right. Then we also have a, not recall, but a pause of production. And I am wondering this because I am supposed to get all of my products tomorrow. My Z Fold 6, Z Flip 6, What else? Galaxy Buds Pro 3 and Galaxy Watch Ultra are all supposed to come in my shipment tomorrow. However, it might not be with the Galaxy Buds Pro 3, or if they do come out, they might give you a one-time replacement, no charge. And that is because when you take out the ear tips to change them for different sizes, which I usually do with mine, apparently it's such a strong grip on the actual ear tip part, which, just, I don't want to do with these. Let me do with some that are not connected to. Okay, let's do with these. These are some Bose. So there's this ear tip part, right? These are Bose, so they're not the ones that we're talking about here. But if I take this part off, this piece, see that little piece right there, is coming off with this. So that is the issue, is that the glue sticking to it is actually causing a problem. So that being said, Samsung is fixing the issue. It's probably just a glue issue, to be honest. And once they fix that, it'll be fine. But they're halting production on it because they had people testing it. And again, when you're pulling off the silicone, that earpiece part would come with it. So we'll have to wait and see how that happens. But I am curious, again, to hear the call quality on this so much, because that's the reason they did this design. So if that is the reason, the call quality better be good. And I'm definitely going to put the Starbucks test out there for sure. All right. The last thing I want to let you guys know about is that it looks like from now on in the US, Samsung will no longer be coming with Samsung Messages. By default, it will be coming with Google Messages, and RCS will be turned on by default. This is so all text messaging can go perfectly and smoothly with iOS users. So it will basically be perfect that once iOS officially comes out of beta next month, then you will have perfect text messaging between Android, at least Samsung phones, coming out of the box moving forward. If you have RCS and Google Messages already on your other phones, it will be the same. Samsung just wants to make sure that it's hassle-free for newer purchases moving forward. So the text messaging between the two devices will be perfectly fine. Here for that, definitely would love that for sure. All right, guys, now let's get started with your questions. If you have a question you want to ask, just ask in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. All right. Let's get started with your guys' questions. And one thing I do want to emphasize, again, I know we always say it, and thank you, Quiet Storm, for saying at the beginning of the chat, but, hopefully no politics here, guys. I know there was a big announcement today, but no politics, except for, Perez for president. But yeah, all right. But other than that, no politics. So yeah, let's go. All right. Absolutely love your professionalism and evolution, not to mention your vast internalizing of technology. I have a question for you. Thank you, Alan, for all of that. I have the S24 Ultra. I would like to use moment lenses. Got it. I used to use moment lenses a lot before we kind of started getting all of the lenses, right? Before we started getting the ultra wide and the telephoto, I always used moment lenses as attachments. I no longer really do, just because I don't find them as necessary. Now, not to say that I wouldn't like, a slightly wider with the better quality camera every once in a while. But for the most part, I see them okay, unless you really are doing high quality video taking or photography, then you would want to use them. Essentially with moment lenses, you just always want to match whatever the case that you have is. So if the case for the S24 Ultra you get is the M mount lenses, then you want to get the M lenses. And if it's the S lenses, you want to get the S lenses. So you just want to make sure you match them to whatever the one you're getting is. Other than that, one of the best things I would say is once you get those lenses, get an ND filter. If you're ever in a really bright area and your phone would normally be kind of really washed out, that ND filter, it'll make it look amazing. But yeah, that's main things I would say for it. All right. can you copy files from an Android phones instead of transferring them with Smart Switch? Certain files I want to keep on my other phone, just a new one. You know, Cornelius, I have not seen one that is as good as Smart Switch still to this day. Even Google's transfer requires it to be at the beginning of setup, not in the middle of setup, which is quite frankly very annoying. The best part about Samsung Smart Switch is I have done this and I probably will do this again. I'm going to transfer everything over from, I don't have it yet, right? But if say this was my Z Fold 6, I'm going to transfer everything over from my S24 Ultra to my Z Fold 6. And then the layout isn't going to be what I want it to be, right? Because it is a standard phone versus a bigger phone, foldable phone. But this one has the layout that I like. So then I'm going to do an additional transfer of just the home screen from this phone to that phone. And it'll be perfect. Like right off the bat, it'll be perfect. Exactly what I want. That I can't do with Google because I have to choose one phone to transfer everything to, and that's it. There have been pretenders to the throne in terms of a Smart Switch solution. There have been T-Mobile. That one I used to use a lot. They stopped using it because they choose to use their in-store one instead, which is nowhere near as good. Cellbrite. And that's what Best Buy uses too, Cellbrite. So that would be another way to do things. If you want to transfer over files, you could take it. I don't know if they do it as a service if you don't buy the phone there, but I would ask Best Buy if it's slow day, you know, hey, could you transfer over this phone to this phone on your Cellbrite? And they might do it for you. They might charge you a transfer fee if that would be $20 or something like that. You have to kind of decide if it's worth it for you. But yeah, like that's off the top of my head what I would say in terms of it, because I have found many other ones that charge you fees that I wouldn't trust with my data. And the problem with any of these apps, of course, is unless it's a big company behind it, you are trusting your data because you're giving access to your entire phone in order for it to transfer over one phone to the other. So I would be very cautious with that, but let me know what you guys think. That's my opinion on it. All right. Don't foldables have the advantage of being able to use the rear camera as a selfie camera too? Yes and no. What I mean by that is that it's not although it's a great pitch, right? It's a great pitch to say, oh, well, I can totally and absolutely, pop my phone over like this and use this camera to take my photo. So I can, now switch it over here, and now I can absolutely just switch and use this one to now take it. So now I'm taking a really good shot. How often are you going to be holding it like this? Right? It's not as, I've been in so many situations where this is just not as good. It's hard to do and like all this kind of stuff. Like it's not as good as just having a really good camera. And trust me, you're going to want to do, like, I don't know anyone that would use this camera like you don't, because this camera's crap. So you would close it and use this camera essentially for sure instead, because this camera is at least decent on the front. It's a 10 megapixel instead of that 4 megapixel one that you have on the front in the middle. So you do have that advantage, but it's nowhere near as good. And I will say nowhere near as good as on the Fold. On the Fold design, it's not as good. On the Flip design, it is good. Although I will have to see, I did not have the Z Flip 5 for myself for long. It was less than a month that I had it. I'm curious to see on the Z Fold 6 if it does have the ability to shoot as a regular video quality. Because on the Z Flip 4, I remember it did not. It was like 30 frames per second. That was the lock to it. If it can film at 4K 60 frames per second selfie mode with it closed, that would be very easy, and it's very easy to grip, and that's what makes it better. It's not only using the rear camera, but using the rear camera in an easy fashion, which the Fold is not an easy fashion. The Flip is. But to contrast that, before this year, before the Z Flip 6, right, the Z Flip 5 had a lower quality camera compared to the Z Fold 5. The Fold had better cameras. The Z Flip 6 has the same camera as the Z Flip Fold 6. So those two are now the same. That wasn't true last year, but now it is this year. All right. Let's see. I wonder if the Ultra will have faster charging speeds. We'll have to wait and see. Um, I I don't know if it'll have more than 45 or 65. I feel like Samsung keeps switching between those. But I mean, 65 is the charger that I have from Samsung over here, so I can always charge really fast. I mean, this was at 1% when I started setting up for the show about an hour ago, and it's at 83% now. So I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, if you can give me an hour and 80% battery life, I'm fine with that. And that was with it downloading stuff and all that kind of stuff. Is there anybody here that have any information on the S24 Ultra Galaxy? What information do you want? My Z Fold 6 is on the way. 1200 trade-in was the clincher. Silver looks sweet. I got the Samsung Edition carbon fiber one, so I'm very curious to see how that one looks in person. But yeah, it looks really nice. Qualcomm's prices are getting too high. MediaTek can hopefully help with the competition. I do definitely hope for that for sure. If you game on your tablet, you want a good processor. Wait, what? Oh, no self promo, but YouTube Tech Guy is the man. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I don't really get Samsung headphones because they always inferior on the mid-range buds. Yeah, some people don't like the audio quality. Is totally understand that. I am actually still so sad that we are not going to get Jabra anymore, because Jabra was one of the best quality to me wise. So I mean, I've liked the Beats Plus that I've had for a while now. These have been my go-to ones, especially because call quality, they were way better than the Jabra Elite 10. I don't know what happened with the Jabra Elite 7 and Elite 8 were better than the Elite 10 for call quality, and then Jabra announced that they're not going to be in the earbud business anymore. So yeah, so these are the ones I've been daily driving for a while now. I love the Bose too that I had, but man, did they, like, something happened with them where they stopped pairing correctly, and I was like, well, I don't want to deal with that, so I went with the Beats Plus ever since. But I might switch to these Samsungs once they come out. We'll have to wait and see. What's up, my man? Been a long time. J Flow Triple. Had a quadruple pie pass filled through me. Whoa, J Flow, man. I hope you're doing well. That's crazy. Yeah, totally hope you're doing great, and definitely, wow. Hopefully you're doing good. Um, let's see. Currently have an S23 Ultra. Should I upgrade to the S24 Ultra? The S24 Ultra definitely had better video quality, I would say that, and better battery life. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 to Gen 3, I would definitely say improved the battery life wise. So that was a really good one. But the zoom quality and the video quality are the two best things I would say from those that you got from there. Um, I have not used G Camera for a little while. I was starting to use that with the less expensive smartphones, just to kind of upgrade the quality. But I don't use it anymore, quite frankly. I don't. I think it started being less and less supported. But yeah, I'm curious. Just because I have it here, I'm curious if I can get it on the Galaxy A55, for example. Let's see. No, so it doesn't look like you can get it anymore. G camera allows G cam features and better quality. Yeah, so this is not from Google, but Google essentially someone has made a G camera on the Google Shop, but it is not actually Gcam. So maybe you could still sideload it, but it doesn't look like it's on the Play Store anymore either. So yeah, it looks like Google doesn't have it available, at least like I said, on modern smartphones. I felt like they stopped supporting it, and yeah, there's nothing I really see that looks like to be G camera anymore. So it looks like they may have just kind of stopped supporting it. Um, but again, you could still probably sideload it. I would be curious. The problem with sideloading Gcam was always like you had to configure it just right, or else it's just not going to look as good. ND filter is also good for long exposure. Yes. I wish Samsung put the S24 cameras on the Fold. It would be the perfect phone. I absolutely agree. I've been saying that for years, and yes, I completely agree with you. Has there been any updates on Google Messages for categories? I haven't switched to them because Sam Messages use categories. Dude, I've not looked it up since you last asked me for that, just because I don't use categories. But let me see. To message settings. Message organization. Nope, not there. I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like you can do categories, at least not from what I can see easily. All right. Still have the S22 Ultra ready to upgrade, but I'm debating on getting the S24 Ultra or waiting for the S25 Ultra. What do you think? Um, let's see what's the trade-in right now for it. Um, hold on 1 second. Okay. So let's go to. Oh my god! I swear the amount of pop-ups like you get. So S24 Ultra, right? Again, the amount of pop-ups by now. Let's see what kind of trade-in you get. I'm gonna put unlocked because I don't know what you currently have. It looks like they are giving you double the storage right now, which they haven't done for a while, so that's kind of cool. So essentially, you can get the 512 for the same price as the regular 256. Let's just go with a regular old boring color, just in case. Trade in. Yes, my advice is in good condition, and yours would be the S22 Ultra. So you can get 600 for it right now. By the way, these slash prices aren't always true. I feel like that they deflate the slash prices. Because I would say most of the time you can get this one for 400 still with the trade in, but so you can get $600 right now trade in, which would bring this down to $699. So half off right now. I would probably say if you waited till the S25, I think you would still get around that, but maybe $500 for a trade-in. So I would probably say you probably wouldn't get more than 600 for a trade-in when the S25 would come out. I could be wrong, but that's just my guess because by that point it would be S25 to S22. It's 3-year difference, so roughly I would probably say that you might get a slightly lower trade-in or possibly the same trade-in, for the S25. So depends if you want to wait for it. But you know, there are obviously two other times when it could go on sale. Although I would say your next sale, just out of curiosity, might not have the 512 storage. Ooh. Hold on one second, guys. Got to swap out the camera. This camera overheated. That is my desk. I mean, we were going good. Almost technical difficulty, but you know. All right. And there we are. Sorry. Had to switch back to the lower camera because this one overheated. I had this cool fan on the back of it that stopped it from overheating, but the fan lost charge, so then it started overheating on the back. So yeah, good recovery though, not that long for it, so I am happy about that. I'm gonna start charging this fan. I'll have to kind of see. I don't think the fan was fully charged, so I'll kind of have to note how long this can last next time around. All right. Let me know if everything is good, by the way, if the audio is still about the same sync and everything. Let me know. All right. Let's see. Where were we talking about? Oh, I was saying with the next deal, it might even be cheaper, but you might not get the bigger storage. So I would say if you want the bigger storage, then go ahead and get that one. I would say get it now. But if not, so S24 Ultra. And if you use the link, it helps me out. It's an affiliate link, so it helps me out a little bit if you buy it using that link. Or anything else from Samsung. It always helps me out. All right. Flip is good for selfie photos, definitely. Hey, Luca. Haven't seen you in a while, man. Hey, Rick, congrats on the content. How do you like the Z Fold 6 compared to the Open? Just ordered the Z Fold 6. I am on the Open. I'm curious, how much did they give you for the trade-in for the Open? Because I feel like Samsung really doesn't give you a lot of money for trade-ins unless it is for a Samsung or an iPhone. I feel like they don't give you that good of a trade-in for Pixel or for OnePlus. But I think the Fold 6 compared to the OnePlus, I think you will have comparable cameras. I think you'll have a better screen overall. And I mean, the aspect ratio on the OnePlus, I think, was better. But I definitely noticed that, like, certain things like split screen and pairing tabs and delays, I feel like are better on Samsung than they are with the OnePlus Open. So that's what I would say between the two. I have the S23. So yeah, I just answered that for the S24 Ultra part. Anker makes nice headphones. I do love Anker headphones too. I use them for working out actually. I have these ones. The the Sport X20s. Really great for working out. I absolutely love them. Fit in your ear perfect. Kind of remind me of the old school Sonys if you ever had those, but really great and much better upgraded sound quality. I used to have the X10s, and once I got into going to the gym more again, I switched to the X20s just because I wanted the better audio quality. So really like those. Will Samsung hardware ever catch up to the Chinese phones? Samsung hardware would pass the Chinese phones if they were in the US. The problem is because they're not in the US and Samsung sells its majority of smartphones outside of China, that's why they don't feel a need to. And as, you know, good as they are and how they compete in Europe, they don't come close in Europe to Samsung either. So yeah, it's the incentive has to be there for them to catch up, and I don't think it is, unfortunately. Um, do you know how to stop Verizon from installing games on my phone? No reason. For no reason. I don't want. It happens once in a while. No, unfortunately, since you get the carrier version, they do have the ability to do that. It's not something I agree with. It's usually over a software update when they'll do it, so you don't hopefully notice it. But yeah, you have to uninstall it. Sucks. I don't like it. It's why I always. It's personally why I always get unlocked. Who is your Mount Rushmore of developing? What do you mean by developing? What do you mean by developing, Rob? Let me know. Like developing in terms of gaming, in terms of smartphones, in terms of software. I mean, there's a lot that can go. Let me know what you mean. Amazon sent me the wrong size. We'll send my watch first. And do I have to send it back first? No. Usually, they ship it to you first. But they will. Depends on when you contact Amazon's customer service, they'll typically tell you. But typically, they'll start the shipment back to you, and they will tell you, hey, just ship back the original, or we will charge you if you don't ship it back by this date. So just ship it back before the date. Hi, I have a Z Fold 5. I'm thinking about trading in for the Z Fold 6. Hard time deciding to wait for the Z Fold 7. Quite honestly, I would not. Okay, here's a caveat to that. Right now, you have an amazing trade-in value, $1,200. That is really a great trade-in. It's probably the highest trade-in that Samsung's ever given. So that is the reason why I would trade in right now, besides getting also double the storage. You might even have a $100 credit with it too. So for those reasons, yes, it's good for a trade-in. Was there that much of a difference between last year's model and this year's model? I would personally say no. But for the Fold 5, check the link I'm just putting in the chat right now. It is absolutely amazing when it comes to the trade-in value right now, and that is the main reason why I would say do it before the pre-order runs out. Remember, the pre-order runs out Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So as soon as that happens, it's probably not going to be as good as a deal. The pre-orders are always the best deal. So decide before then, because once that pre-order ends, it's not going to be worth it. So yeah. And the reason why I say that is because, if you trade in now, you're going to get $1,200 for your phone. Next year you might get $1,000 for it, right? So, or maybe even $900 or $800 if the trade-in value isn't as good as this year's was. So just know that like this year I got $1,000 for my Z Fold 4 2-year-old model. This is again the highest trade-in value they ever did. So if they do that again with your phone next year, it would be 1,000 instead of 12, right? If they lower it, it might be 900. So now you're talking about a $200 difference if you wait to a $300 difference if you wait. So factoring all that in is what you kind of have to work out. But I would say that you're never going to get the better trade-in value than you do now. So if you do want to get things like better battery life with it, and definitely I would say a better aspect ratio, then that's what would mainly make it worth it. Do you prefer the Z Fold Z Fold or S24 Ultra? I would say I prefer the S24 Ultra because I'm a person that I need to have a really amazing camera and battery life, and the Ultra does that better than the Fold. However, I have the benefit of having two phones always with me. So this combo is kind of the best combo you can have when you have a Pixel, which has a phenomenal camera for photo taking and video taking, and you have a Fold, which gives you the best entertainment value you can get on a phone. So this combo is hard to beat. So because of that, I don't mind having one instead of the other. All right. Did you pre-order the Galaxy Watch Ultra? Yes, I did. I'm not trading in this watch, by the way, so I will get to keep this watch and really see if I like the Ultra better. Even return it if I don't like it. But I had to see if the Ultra was good enough. It will pop up my notification says Verizon has installed these apps, and I always delete them. Yeah, and again, if you get a carrier phone, it's kind of what has to happen to them. This is what happens when you're spitting heat. Love it, Rob. Um, Loving the new background. It's the same background. It was just a you know different quality. Or well, it depends on the last time you saw it. It's been this background for a while. Like your favorite technology developers. My bad, broad question. I don't even know. It's so broad. I don't know how to answer it. Like one of the best hardware manufacturers has to be considered Samsung of all time just because of the great hardware they do. The best camera manufacturer, I would have to say overall has to be considered Sony now, which is crazy because Canon and Nikon had such a lead on them, and Panasonic even had a lead on video for a while. But Sony, I feel like anyone that does video uses Sony, and their cameras have gotten so much better than everyone else that really it's a two-person race on smartphones. You either use a Sony processor or a Samsung processor for any camera, to the point where Samsung themselves sometimes uses Sony sensors, if not on every one of their A series phones and even on their Galaxy S series phones. So, yeah, like in terms of technology developers like that, I would say Sony as well has to be given the king title for uh, probably always having the best, if not the top two best consoles of almost every generation. PS3 might have been a loss, but every generation besides that, I would argue that Sony was always the best. Maybe not the top selling. It obviously, had the Wii and the Switch have such iconic sales, but PS1, PS2, best selling console of all time. So there are different ones like that, right? Google has to be one of the best software companies ever made, just because I still think the majority of people will use three of their services in your lifetime. I don't know if I don't know of many people that can't say for software they have not used Google Search, YouTube, and Gmail. Like and Google Maps too. Sorry, four softwares that almost everyone in the world uses. Like that is software wise, like has to be considered the best, right? And yes, there is of course Apple, which has to be in the conversation of having probably one of the best ecosystems, definitely the best marketed ecosystem. Best marketing, I would say, still to this day, is Apple, because they have convinced people, whether they've ever been the best or not at anything, they've convinced people that they are the best. So even without saying, has iPhone was iPhone 5 the best phone? Was iPhone 8 the best phone? Was iPhone 10 the best phone? Forget that. There have always been people that have thought that every single iPhone was the best, even if it wasn't. There have been people that thought that iPads were always the best every year. There have been people that thought that MacBooks were the best every year. There are still people that think Apple is more secure when it's never been more secure. Like, I had so many people talk to me like, oh man, look what happened with the Windows. First of all, it wasn't Windows. It was the security software that a lot of companies put on there called Softcraft. No. If anyone knows the company's name, it's a security software company that crashed over this week at all the airlines and banks, and very popular software, and it crashed doing an update. And the update made all of these systems crash, and they were like, oh, that would never happen if it was a Mac. When I was doing hacking, Macs were far easier to hack, like far easier to hack. And it was just very easy for that kind of stuff, right? So having that being said, The reason why there aren't more hacks on Apple stuff is just because they don't have the numbers. And people flip when I say that. They're like, "What do you mean? It's the top selling phone of all time. What are you talking about? What do you mean?" It's small in terms of its ecosystem on any platform. Apple is sells a lot of iPhones, but guess what? iOS is still small compared to Android. Windows dwarfs even that of macOS. macOS sells nothing compared to it. Android tablets have always outsold iPads for 10 years now. I want to say about 10 years they've outsold iPads. Like it's never been that Apple's ever sold the most, even though again their marketing will make you think it is. So that's why hackers go by the numbers. Whoever sells the most is who they're going after. Um, is there a compatibility issue with Samsung Message and iOS? Samsung Messages, from what I heard, they were hard to activate RCS when they first got started. I have not used Samsung Messages in probably 2 years since that issue happened, so I have not used it. So that was the main issue before. I would say that either Samsung chose not to really fix it or just chose, you know what, let's do what we should have done years ago and let's just let Google do the software for this part. Maybe change and add things. Ask Google, hey, we want things like categories, the things that we did well in text messaging, and do it on this version for it. They could negotiate that if they want to, but that's really what I would say is the reason why is that, you know, hey, let Android have a unified text messaging way, and everyone else will be happier. Is the Z Fold Ultra coming to the USA? No, I told that at the top of it. It's basically going to be the W series that comes out every year for China, and it's only going to come out in China and in Korea. Although it does not sound like it was going to be the Dream Fold that we wanted. Trading the Watch 6 Classic for the 7 Ultra. Mine works nice with my Pixel Fold. That's great that you had a good experience with that. I did not actually. I had a troubling experience when I had my Galaxy Watch with the Pixel Fold, so much so that I ended up switching to the Pixel Watch with the Pixel Fold just because it had a better connection, had a better ecosystem connection than the Samsung did. It was something about the notifications didn't sync right and the alarms didn't sync right when I was using those. I'm not sure if you experienced anything like that. And yes, we are getting to the warning time. I'll answer a few more questions and then I'm going to be out of here, guys. Yes, Samsung definitely number one. Definitely Sony definitely stuck up besides having Blu-ray and DVDs at the time. Yeah, and there was a time when Pioneer had the best TVs. There was a time when Sony had the best TVs. Sony had the best LCDs ever made, and they just did not believe that LEDs were going to be the best. Samsung took advantage of that and eclipsed them, and Samsung's been the number one TV manufacturer ever since they made that decision. So yeah, there's moments in time where stuff just went crazy. Handy advanced car keeping. Yes, there we go. No strikes, please. Yes. Ricky, didn't even know you had a live stream. Been following you for years now. Can't wait for more of these. Yeah, do it every Sunday, or try to at least. Thank you for always putting on a great show. You got my vote, Perez for Perez. There you go. All right, thank you guys so much. And on that note, we will Capsule Corp Perez all the way. It's more profitable. There you go. All right, guys, we will call that a show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will appreciate you guys. And please make sure to tune in to all of the videos coming out this week on Z Fold 5, Z Fold 6, Z Flip 6, Galaxy Watch Ultra, and Galaxy Watch Buds Pro 3, as well as other videos I have coming out. Thank you guys so much again for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Thank you so much again for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below. Also, follow us on social media at YouTube Tech Guy, and check out some more great tech videos on your screen right now.